Hello, everyone, and welcome to C1 Week 12. This is the final class looking at education. We're talking about education and training, the way we learn. This is the final class on that subject, okay? So remember, we have class every Friday at 11 o'clock and also at 7 o'clock. So this is the 11 o'clock version that's being recorded. And we have Santi here in assistance. So hello. You're going to help me out with this. What are we going to look at today? We are going to look at speculating in English. Santi, do you understand what speculating is?
Yes, is imagine what is going on.
Yeah, it's debating about what is going on. Basically, when you don't know exactly what is going on. Now, it is when you are unsure, it is when you cannot be certain about something, we will use speculating. So, the official description of speculating is this. Speculating is theorizing or conjecturing about a subject without evidence. So we have the verb theorize, to hypothesize, of course. Conjecture, meaning just to speculate. You know, it's a synonym in this way. So we talk about a subject when we don't know, we are unsure. Now, this grammar is actually very basic. However, there are many people who use it incorrectly. You can use basic adjectives like probable, likely, improbable, unlikely. So I can say, it is probable that it will happen. It is likely to happen. I could also say unlikely, improbable, yeah? Improbable. Yeah. So it is improbable to happen. It is unlikely to happen. And we normally use the adjective with the infinitive. What you cannot say is, it is probably that, because probably is an adverb, not an adjective. Likely ends in ly, but it is an adjective, not an adverb. Be careful with the difference. So, be careful with where you put probably. Do not put it at the beginning of a sentence. Probably I will go, this won't work. Okay. Probably goes after the auxiliary or before a normal verb. So, it has probably impacted on something. I can use modal verbs. It might have influenced, I could say. It could have affected, or it could affect. I could say, it may have an impact on. And I can also use perhaps, quizás, maybe, tal vez, at the beginning of a sentence. Perhaps it has an effect on. Maybe it has something to do with. Do not say it has something to see with. It has something to do with something. Okay. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to speculate, Santi, about this question. We will interact and speak together. You need to suggest a possibility. You suggest an idea. I will give my opinion, and I will suggest an idea. You will give your opinion about it. We did a very similar activity with this at B2, but we used a different way of doing it. So, the questions are, what might be the most effective way to learn English?
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, the best way to learn English perhaps is going to an English spoken country, a country which speaking English, so and live there for maybe 3 or 4 months, because everything you listen is in English, and also everything you see you see writing is in English too. The people who speak to you expect that you respond in English. So for me, is the best way.
Yeah, okay, so going to another country because it obligates you to do it. Perhaps this is an effective way to learn a language. Yeah, it could work. However, you need to remember, if you go to a country and you do not know anyone and you have no purpose for being in this country, it can be difficult to meet people and make friends with local people. I think if you do a voluntary program, or if you have a job, or if you do a course, it can be a good way. But imagine you go to Germany tomorrow, to Berlin. You do not know anyone. You go to a hostel. Who are you going to meet? You're going to meet Spanish people, and you're going to speak to Spanish people. You will speak in Spanish. Local people do not really want to teach you German. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah,
You might find it hard to meet people. You agree?
yeah, I can see your point. Maybe I didn't maybe I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Now,
But
of course, we need to take many things into account because there might be different situations for different people. Another option could be listening to podcasts and listening to the radio in English. What do you reckon?
yes, it might be a very an excellent way to understand English, and it's a way that I usually use maybe 2 or 3 times in a week. So, and in my opinion, it's helping me to understand English.
Yeah, I think if you listen every day, it can really help you and improve your confidence. It can also help your speaking. Have you got any other suggestions?
Another suggestion can be to watch films in English, but it's perhaps it's the same than listen a podcast in English.
Yeah, but
So
I
you are
think we probably spend more time watching TV than listening to podcasts. So it could be a very good option. I think listening to music is common as well, and watching TV are popular activities. So why not do them in English? It could be an effective way to do it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, we probably spend more time watching TV than listening to podcasts. What do you think?
Okay. This is maybe not my for me because I don't spend so much time watching TV.
Uh-huh.
So it perhaps it can help with people who are older and they
They spend a
usually
lot of time at
spend a
home.
lot of time watching TV.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
for younger generations,
Yeah,
it
probably
might
not.
it
Yeah.
might be better it may be better
To do it may be better to
it may be better
speak English to other people, maybe, or to read on the internet.
yes to read something in English, to read a book or to read news on the internet, which can be things that can help with them.
Yeah, exactly. I think it might depend on the person, because if you spend a lot of time watching TV, then this is a good activity to do in English. However, if you perhaps spend more time reading, then reading could be the most effective way to do it. Yeah, I think it depends on the person. Right, so which one thing would you choose, Santi? Which one way do you think is the most effective?
Okay, in my opinion, the best way is the first I said. Go to an English country, but having a purpose to do in that country, not
Yeah.
going alone, don't knowing
Yeah, not
anyone.
knowing anyone, yeah, can be very
No,
difficult. Now, I am
maybe.
telling you this from personal experience, because
Ah,
I did this when I was 21 or 22 years old. I went to Peru hoping to learn Spanish, but I didn't know any Spanish. And I went and I realized it was very difficult to make friends. People did not want to spend time teaching me Spanish. So I had to go to classes, and, I did things that I could have done in the UK
I see.
until I had a decent enough level. And then I did some voluntary work, and that really helped. That was a good idea. So I met lots of people, which was good. Okay, fantastic. So let's take a look at the next part. What should we be doing to improve? Okay, we're going to look at something we need to be careful with. Then we are going to discuss some questions. So we are going to talk about key vocabulary related to education. You need to be very careful with false friends. One typical false friend is the use of signature instead of subject, with facility instead of with ease. Okay, saying it costs me to learn English instead of I struggle to learn English. I find it difficult to learn English. What we are going to do is review some questions, and there is some specific vocabulary for education and learning languages here. So, Santi, first question. It has a phrasal verb, to take in. Take in is to understand, to learn, to internalize, to assimilate, to really, really learn well. Yeah. So, do you take in new words with ease?
Well, it maybe depend how the word is, because it maybe have a root on another word in Spanish or another in English. So for me, it can be easier to understand that word that a word that it hasn't any root I know, and it's the first time I see it. Also, the context helps a lot. The
Exactly.
context.
Yeah, I think if you learn a word in a context, you can relate it to things you already know, and this makes it easier to understand. Of course it does. I think an important thing is to not always translate. If you can avoid translating, it can help you take in the new word. Do you agree?
For example, in this phrase, do you take in new word with ease? I didn't know what it was is, and taking maybe I didn't remember, but I understand what the phrase is, but
Because of the
I didn't understand.
yeah.
I
Basically,
didn't understand those words, but I understand what the phrase.
okay. Because of
So
the context,
the
because
context.
we are talking about education. Yeah, it can help. This is why it's quite difficult when people just tell you one word. They say, what does ease mean? One word, you think, it's difficult to explain. But if I give you a phrase, a sentence, it's easier. Now, ease comes from easy. So if I say,
Yeah.
I do my job with ease, I pay my bills with ease. I read a book with ease. I eat a healthy diet with ease. It simply means easily. I do not find it difficult. It is easy. The false friend is con facilidad, with facility. Does not work. We cannot say with facility, okay? All right. The second question. What does an effective education system lead to?
Okay, as far as I'm concerned, an effective education system leads you to understand how the things work, not only memorize something and spit it in the exam. You have to know how it works. So if the exercises in the exam is different than the previous one you saw in the book, you can solve it because you understand what are you doing, not only memorizing a thing.
Exactly, yeah. I think so too. I think if an education system is based on memorization, then people do not really learn in a practical way, and they forget these things very quickly. They also find it difficult to focus on what they are learning because they find it boring. I think it can be very boring. Now, lead to is a really good phrase, okay? It just means to cause. So what problems could an ineffective education system cause? But what positive things does an effective education system cause? So cause, provoke, we normally use the word lead to. So an effective education system leads to a happier society and a more successful population, for example. Right, let's take a look at question 3. Did you notice anything untoward about your teachers during your schooling? So, do you understand the question?
Yes, I remember untoward.
Untoward from this.
Yes, from the
untoward is weird, strange, yeah? So something unusual. Okay? So
there are two teachers to come with to my mind when I see this question. One of them was in the university and he was always drunk.
oh yeah?
Yes,
A drunk teacher?
a drunk teacher, yes, in the university. And
That's a bit scary, isn't it, really?
yes, I remember having emails from him saying at the 4 a.m. saying I'm not well tomorrow
At
class.
4 a.m.
Yes, at 4 a.m.
Ah.
And I'm not well tomorrow we don't have class because I'm not feeling well.
And he didn't get fired. He didn't lose his job.
No. And that and another teammates say to me that he was they see them in the
The bar, yeah.
drunk in the street. So
That's crazy, isn't it?
yes, and he
He
also
should have lost his job.
yes, he also he didn't smell good. He was also, yes, smelling alcohol.
He always smelled
You
of
can
alcohol.
yeah,
And smell of alcohol.
when you stay near him, you smell the alcohol always.
Yeah, I didn't have situations like this. My university experience actually was very good. But I remember at high school, there were some teachers that were uninterested. They were not very interested in the students. As long as you behaved well, they didn't care if you advanced or if you didn't. They didn't prepare their classes. They would come in and say, what do you want to do? And we would say, what? They said, what page should we do from the book? They didn't prepare anything. It was just lazy. And they just said, study the book in silence. You know, that I thought was very untoward because it's very unprofessional. These types of teachers shouldn't have a job, you know, my personal opinion. Okay, let's take a look at the fourth question. Would you say that our bilingual system in Spain has been set up in a naive way? What is to set up? To organize. Naive means without necessary information. It means to, in an ignorant way. It means, in Spanish, ingenuo, de una forma ingenua, en plan, ignorante, que la gente no sabe cómo funciona. So would you say that our bilingual system has been set up, organized in a badly organized way, naive way?
Maybe when I was in the school, it was organized in that way, not because they didn't understand how the language is, how to learn a language work, and maybe I remember that they say, oh, learn this vocabulary and we are going to do an exam, and that didn't help because if you didn't use that vocabulary, you are going to forget it. So I spent 3 years. We have an optative subject in my school, which was French.
Okay.
I learned French for 3 years, and the way was do these exercises, and at the end of the class, I'm going to see what is good and what is wrong in the exercises. I didn't learn anything, and I forget all the French for these 3 years.
Okay. Yeah, I think you do. Yeah, remember, if it's an optional subject, then maybe you don't learn in an effective way.
Also, the teacher didn't know. I think that the main problem was the teacher didn't know
French.
Didn't know the languages so well, so it is a problem. If you
Definitely it is. It is an issue.
You don't understand. You don't.
Yeah, well, yeah. If the teacher, you know, I believe people can be good teachers without being an expert in their topic, but they need to work harder and they need to prepare their classes more. But when someone really doesn't know how to teach something, then it is a problem. I have met teachers in Spain that I honestly think, how can you teach a foreign language? When you don't know it, you can't do it. But we also have this problem in the UK. Now, where I was a primary school teacher in the UK, and they told us that you have to teach a foreign language. And when I was in one school, they said to me, Mark, you have to teach French. And I said, I can't teach French. I have no idea. I don't speak any French at all. And they were quite insistent that I had to do it. And I said, look, I'm not going to do it. I'll teach Spanish. I had a B1 level Spanish. I wasn't even really very good. But I said, that's the only language that I would feel confident teaching at all. And they allowed me to teach Spanish. But I think it's a very bad idea to, you know, someone to do it. But I think a big problem is many of the inspectors who organize these systems, they are not really teachers and they don't really understand how teaching works. I think it's a bad idea to put a subject exclusively in a language. For example, it's a bad idea to say science is all in English, because in primary school, it's all in English. The level is not very high. Then when they go to high school, science is in Spanish again. It just doesn't make sense. I think it can cause lots of problems.
That didn't exist
Yeah,
when I come to the school.
yeah. I think it can cause lots of problems. It can be a really, really big problem. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at the next question. Who plays the most important role in a child's education?
Of course, is the parents of the child. Because not because they are going to teach the child math or science or language or something like that. It's because they are teach the child to study and to do the things right and that types of things.
Yeah.
If the parents of the children don't care about the marks, the children is going to fail all the exams because he's going to say, okay, I can fail all the exams and no
And my
one.
parents don't care. Yeah.
Yes, and my parents don't care, and they aren't going to do anything to me.
Exactly, but I also think of it, it is not only when a child is doing badly at school that a parent should pay them attention. I think the parent should also pay attention to their students to their children when they are doing well at school. For example, they need to celebrate their children's achievements and not only in exams. For example, I feel happier with my children when the teacher calls me and tells me, your son is very good in class, he participates and he's very polite and he's very good to the other children and he's very helpful. I feel better than when I see he has a 10 in an exam. Because, this participation in the classes is more important than being good at exams because I know he's interested. And, I think you need to celebrate these things. Yeah.
Yes, I'm totally agree with you.
Good, fantastic. Okay, let's take a look at the next question. Yeah, this is a statement and you have to say, do you agree or disagree? This is about being naive, about being ignorant, about not knowing something. So it is said that what you don't know can't hurt you. Do you agree?
Okay, I don't know who said that, but it's wrong.
Yeah. Oh, no, they say it, don't they? Ojos que no ven. They do say it.
Yes. No, but that isn't true. In my opinion, it's the contrary. If you
It's the
don't have,
opposite. Yeah, it's the
yes, if you don't have enough information, maybe you can do wrong choices based on that wrong information, and that wrong choices can be very harmful for you.
Yeah, you can make the wrong choices. Yeah, boy, I think it can cause lots of problems, definitely. If you make the wrong choices, then normally you will find out about it. But I think this is more about superficial information, maybe gossip, talking about, I don't know if somebody has criticized you when you were not present behind your back. Maybe you don't need to know this information because it doesn't have an impact on you. Yeah, maybe it's something more superficial.
Okay, if it's something like that doesn't affect you directly, maybe it's not wrong because you can do anything. If the only thing you can do is get angry, and that doesn't help. So
of course it doesn't. No, it doesn't help in the slightest. Exactly. So it's something that we need to take into account, of course. Right, let's take a look at the next one. Can we please take a look at the final question? Again, it's a statement, and do you agree? So some people say that funding has nothing to do with academic performance. Do you agree? Now, I've purposely used this phrase, has nothing to do with. I've observed from various classes, people using the phrase has nothing to see with, no tiene nada que ver con. It doesn't exist in English. We say has nothing to do with. Okay? So, what's your view?
Okay, I think that funding has some time of impact in the academic performance, because if you are well funding, you can have better teachers and also better equipment. Maybe it isn't the most important thing. I think that parents and how they control the children are also very important, but funding has the, if you aren't well funded, it's going to be hard to teach something to the children.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I think funding is important at all levels. For example, materials for school, I think is very important. The facilities, meaning the building, there we have. And I think there are some subjects that are very badly funded in the UK and also in Spain. For example, PE, physical education, I think is important. It teaches people a lot of things and it's good for people. But normally the facilities are not very good. Here I'm noticing art and music is another case with this, that there is a lack of funding.
Lack of funding.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, it can be. I think there is a bare minimum.
Bare minimum, yeah.
Bare minimum, which if you are under that minimum, you aren't going to teach in the better way. And also, if there is a maximum that if you are going hard, high if you super, I didn't know how to say it. If you
what do you want to say exactly?
superar.
To overcome.
If you get over,
overcome or get over.
If you get over that maximum, the teaching isn't going to improve so much.
Yeah, so, I agree with you on that. Yeah, I think it's something that it's definitely something that you need to take into account. I think it can, it can cause problems. You need to overcome that, of course. And also sometimes teachers need to be resourceful, meaning they need to think of alternatives, think of other ways of doing things. Right, let's see. We're going to look at this next part. We are going to speculate about these issues. As I've said, we've looked at speculating like this, and we're going to speculate about these different issues. So the first one, vocational training. As we say in Spanish, formación profesional, vocational training. This is really a false friend, because vocation no tiene nada que ver con la vocación, and training no tiene nada que ver con entrenar, it is formación. So
it's totally a false friend.
yeah.
So okay, I didn't know so much so vocational training, but in my opinion, it's a good way to people who can't can go to the university, or they don't want to go to the university, to have a job that perhaps it's going to be better paid than another job from a person who went to the university.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. My brother, my younger brother, he trained as a plumber and he has a really good job. He's actually set up a business, and I think he can be proud. He's done a very, very good job. And I think there's always more than one option. I don't think university is always the best option. I don't think it's the best option for many different careers. But if you want to be a doctor, you want to be a teacher, you want to be a lawyer, then yeah, you need to go, of course. Okay, let's see. Bilingual education. What do you reckon? We need to speculate about it.
Okay, bilingual education maybe can be a good option for the children to speak an foreign language, but it must be do I don't know how to say. It must be very good planned because
Well planned, yeah,
yes,
well organized.
if it is an organized, you are only going to confuse the children.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I think so. I think it can be confusing, but I think teachers need to understand how to do it well. And also, they need to have the training and the resources to do it. I think it is a bad idea to obligate people who do not want to do it to do it. For example, if a teacher does not want to teach in a bilingual way, they should not do it. They should go to a different type of school where they do not have bilingual education, because it just doesn't make sense, of course. Right, let's speculate about private schooling, because some people say that it is probably unfair, it is probably a bad way of separating society, because rich people have more and poor people have less, and it causes problems. What do you reckon about private schooling?
In my opinion, it has its drawbacks, because people who go to private schooling usually get better marks for go to the university they want. But it has its drawbacks because these marks aren't with the reality. That marks aren't real, so they are
Exactly.
going to
But this
university.
always, it depends on the educational system, of course, because they increase your grade point average, your GPA, yeah, la media.
Yes.
But of course, when you do the entrance exam into university, what you call here in Spain the EBAU, what we call the A levels in the UK, the teachers cannot manipulate this. The school cannot.
Yes.
So this can cause you lots of problems. Yeah.
So maybe you go to the university thinking you are the best because you pass all your exams with a 10.
Yeah.
And go to the university and see that you really don't know anything, and the people, and maybe a person who has a 7 in the high school is better than you.
Yeah, exactly. It can happen. Now, I think there are some state schools that do things very, very well, but I understand that a lot of people want their children to go to private schools because they want them to associate with people who are not problematic, maybe, because normally when you pay to go to a private school, of course, they can tell you to leave if you do not perform well or if your behavior is bad. But in public schools, they can't, of course. I think that could be one of the reasons. Okay, let's talk about teaching methods. Let's speculate. Because I personally think a lot of teaching methods are old-fashioned. They are out of date. What do you reckon?
I totally agree with you, because nowadays the teaching methods hasn't improved a lot. Haven't improved a lot.
Haven't improved.
Haven't improved a lot, and they are always to memorize things, spit that things in the exam, and forget it when you leave the exam. So that doesn't help you to understand the subject or to anything really. Maybe it can help with for example, with liars. We
Lawyers. It's always
lawyers.
very funny because liar is mentiroso.
Yes. Yes. I'm
Lawyer,
sorry.
lawyer is
with
abogado.
yes, with lawyers, because they have to memorize all the laws, but
Oh,
it's
it's a
the
lot of
only,
information.
in my opinion, it's the only job
I would
to
hate to
memorize
study law if I
such a lot of things.
I would find it very difficult to study law because I don't have a very good memory,
Me
but
too.
I'm quite good with concepts. Okay, let's take a look at one final point, and it is academic degrees. So, what's your opinion of them, and speculate about them, please?
What is an academic degree?
Just a carrera, un grado, like algo academic. So it's like a degree at university.
I think that nowadays have a academic degree maybe can help you to find a job, because there are a lot of academic degrees that aren't useful in my opinion. So it may be better to do a vocational training than academic degree. It depends the degree itself. I think that something like doctor or sometime or engineering are better in the university, but another things for social the social degrees,
Yeah.
or the language degrees. Nowadays we have too many people for the job that they it's required to do.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I definitely see what you mean. I think that it is not really an advantage anymore to have an academic degree. I think people simply expect you to have one, but they're very expensive and they could be a waste of time, depending on what you want to study. I have various friends that have done a degree, they spent a lot of money on it, and they have ended up doing a job that they could have done without their degree.
The degree.
And like many of their colleagues do not have a degree, and they saved this money. So I think it can be an issue.
It maybe help you, because if the boss is going to promote someone, maybe he's going to promote the person who has the degree, but
Maybe that's possible. Yeah, I
yes,
didn't think of it like
depends.
that. That's probably yeah.
So
Right. Let's take a look then at the next part then. So obviously when we speculate, we can be flexible and we can also balance our opinions on an issue. What have we learned today then? We have learned how we can speculate in different ways. Remember to use probably, may, might, could, perhaps, maybe. You could also use adjectives like probable, likely, improbable, unlikely, but normally with an infinitive afterwards. It's rare to say it is unlikely that it will happen. Simply, it is unlikely to happen. We've spoken about education in different ways and looked at key vocabulary. Review the vocabulary from Unit 3 because education is a very important topic, okay? And we've also seen how we can sound more fluent in English by speaking and using key phrases in context. You can do this on our Instagram channel or on YouTube. Simply follow the QR code and you can go to Instagram and you can join. Okay, thank you very much, Santi. Very well done. if you need anything, send me a WhatsApp message and send me an email, okay?
Okay.
If that's it, then we are finished for today. Thank you.